Okay, so I've decided to install these lag eye bolts, about 3 inches from the base of the 2x6 joist, and I'm going to line it up with the notch in the wall. Measure your specific application, but I'm going to go ahead and get that one knocked out. The same will be true for the one on the end. As far as the middle goes, I'm going to do a little bit of offset because I want to get both of these pieces joined, so I'm probably going to go here, so a little bit off center from this line in the wall. So you can choose, for your specific application. But I'm going to go ahead and get these lag bolt holes pre-drilled and these lags in. All right, I've got my hole marked. I don't know if it'll come out in the camera, but it's right here. I'm using the larger bit to accommodate my lag bolts. I'm going to go ahead and get this pre-drilled. And here's my lag eye bolt. I'm going to go ahead and just get that started by hand, and you can zip it in. It's depending on the bit you choose to pre-drill this, you might have to put a wrench on it or use your screwdriver to get it going. I'm going to seat this just past the threads, and again, you can pick specific length lag eye bolt for your application. For this solution, I'm going to go with a vertical orientation for these lags on the bottom. Alright, 1 lag, 2 lag eye bolt, and 3 lag eye bolts. Bam! Alright, let's move on to the next step. Alright, next step in the project process is to take your drill. I took the liberty of swapping out to a smaller bit to accommodate the threaded eye bolt, which you will use to secure your angle iron or whatever board you end up using for your particular application. Let's go. I'm going to go ahead and use a ladder so I have an easier, safer access to the roof of the shed. Alright, I've got the angle at the edge of the roof line, and I'm going to use the OEM indentations as my guide. So I'm going to line it up. It's a corresponding one on the roof. So I'm going to use this hole here, which is furthest away from the edge, to give me some more material to work with. Hopefully this connection will be stronger in making that call. Alright, I've got my hole drilled through the roof. Let's see if I can come down here, and as you see, I got some water infiltration from all this never-ending rain, and of course it's bleeding off. The hole punches through both of these things. Those familiar with it, these roofs have like an outer and an inner layer. Let's continue. Drilled the hole using this as my guide, and you simply fish up the threaded eye bolt through the bottom of the roof, through both layers, and then through your angle, and then cap it off with a nut that comes with your threaded eye bolt. Now, as far as how far you adjust these, it's up to you. I'm only going to have a couple threads laying up here. Let me cinch it down a little more. This way it gives me some latitude. I can tighten up from the top or from the turnbuckle. So it gives you some options. You adjust this to your specific application. Alright, back with the program here. We got 1 eye bolt, threaded eye bolt, 2 threaded eye bolt, 3 threaded eye bolts, and our angle is in place all across the top of the top edge of this roof. The next step is to tie off your 550 cord to each of the eye bolts, and then run you down a length of line so that you have so that you can reach the turnbuckle and eye bolt below. I'm using like a taut hitch. You can use whatever knot you prefer, but for those who aren't familiar with tying knots, take a look and pick one that's a proper knot. Don't use like something lame. Use a proper knot. You'll get better lifespan out of your application. Alright folks, we got our 550 cord hanging from all those eye bolts. What's next? You got it. It's time to use our come along in this project. Let me go ahead and get that started. Alright folks, I have the top part of the come along hooked into the eye bolt above, and I've run the steel cables all the way down to the eye bolt below, and as you can see, I took this lower hook and I didn't feed it through the hole in the eye bolt. Rather, I just have the hook on the shaft. There's a reason for that, and I'll show you what it is. The reason I just put the come along hook on the shaft of this eye bolt is that, remember, in our project we're using these hook and eye turnbuckles, and I want to leave the hole in the eye bolt clear so that I can fish this turnbuckle through. But before we do that, we're going to hook the 550 cord up to it. Anyway, let's get back to the using the come along. All right, why are we using the come along? Well, first of all, if you recall, we have a problem, which was the plastic shed roof is curling skyward and making a mess of the whole thing. I could just reach up with my kung fu grip and pull this down and use the rope and turnbuckle assembly to cinch this whole thing downward and wrap it up and be awesome. Here's the rub though, the turnbuckles I chose don't really take up they're only like what, I think 2 3/8 inch, 2 and whatever, 7/8 inch span. It's not really enough to pick up all this slack. In my opinion, your mileage may vary. Or if you use a larger turnbuckle, they got much bigger ones out there, and you wouldn't need to use the come along. So just to put that out there, if you don't have one of these, then use a larger turnbuckle to pull up all the slack in your roof line and in the cord you use, the 550 cord. I cheaped out on the turnbuckle, but I also have access to these things. And also, case in point, if you don't have come along, I recommend them. Highly recommend you add it to your toolkit. But if you do get them, get two, because these things work in pairs. You can use them for vehicle recovery and all manner of fun projects. Definitely worth having in your kit. Anyway, let me get to cranking, and our roof line, as revealed in this huge gap, should come downward. Oop, before we do, let's lock up the come along. And yeah, this is a fun part of the process, so I am going to leave it in the video. I don't know if you can see it there, but it cinched it up pretty good. And it's nice and firm, so now when I do go and do the turnbuckle assembly in the line, it's going to be squared away. I might put one more zing into this. Let me see. Yeah, good enough. I want it nice and firm. Alright, now the roof line no longer has the curl. It's pulled down flush with the wall, which is what we want. That's the solution. And I'm going to go ahead and take this 550 cord and attach it to our turnbuckle, which will be affixed to the eye bolt below. Alright, let's touch on turnbuckles. Many of you watching this video are familiar with these devices. Some of you are not. So let's just have a quick review, and there's plenty of awesome videos online you can use as for instruction on these things, and I'd highly encourage folks to do so. These things are great, and I'm sure you'll come up with many creative uses for these. For this particular project, turnbuckles, when you buy these things, they're going to be in all various stages of in or out. And what I mean by that is the hook will be in, like this one's almost fully dilated out. This one's almost fully compressed inward. When you're hooking this up, you want it such that you have it fully opened, so that when you go and cinch your cord or wire or whatever you're using, you're actually contracting this. Okay, I went and took the liberty of tightening this one up and opening this one all the way out. This is how you want your turnbuckle to look when you install it in your now installed assembly. For this, my approach in this video, this eye hook is going to go towards the bottom, and hook is going to go through the eye hook in the bottom, and this bolt eye bolt pattern will go up, and you're going to tie your 550 cord to it. Or if you decide to use metal wire, you'll wrap your wire through there and use your thimbles and your ferrule to secure it. Whichever approach you like, hey, give it a go. Alright, as you can see, I've got the turnbuckle hooked into the lag eye bolt. 550 cords tied up here, and I'm going to go ahead and cinch this up. And once this is taut, I can take the come along off and repeat the process for the other strings. Alright, the turnbuckle is cinched up. I don't have any wiggle room to play with should I get some slop inside this cord, but as I mentioned earlier, I have a couple threads on top if I wanted to pull a little more tension in this as the time goes by. Well, you can tighten it up. I went ahead and took the come along off, and as you can see, the roof that was curled now is properly faced against the wall, and we have some decent tension on this line, and it transfers the load to this support joist, which like I said, there's different ways to do this, but I think this approach takes that load off the wall, which I don't think would be a advised approach. All right, folks, we switched from dusk to darkness, and as we progress through this project, as you see, we have 1 cord, 2 cords, 3 cords, and a roof line that is flush against this wall. Like I said, these are popular, these plastic sheds are popular, but they do suffer this malady of the roof curving up on the ends. It compromises the integrity of the roof, and it's just, not good. So this is one possible solution. I'm sure there's plenty of others. I hope folks will put that in the comments. I'm always receptive to other people's interesting approaches. I thought this was good because it takes the load off the walls and dumps the load to a load-bearing member in that 2x6 joist, which is acting as serving duty as the foundation of this particular shed. Anyway, I hope you like this approach. If you do, throw me a like, give me a shout out in the comments. Thanks for watching.